Here's the truth most entrepreneurs will not admit. Sometimes you don't have to scale the business if you have the resentment towards it. Sometimes you gotta just burn it down. And this is the file that I've never thought that I would share because I have had multiple different businesses for the last 10 years. And a lot of them were successful. Some of them, of course, weren't, just like for a lot of people when you first get started. I started at the age of 18 in network marketing, so it's been quite a journey with multiple different challenges and struggles and frustrations and pitfalls, whatever you want to call them. And there definitely have been multiple different pivots that I didn't know would happen when I joined the industry. So really think about where your business is at right now, and maybe you had different experiences in the past, like myself. Sometimes you look at your business and it just doesn't feel like you anymore. I'm going to use network marketing as an example because it's been my very first exposure to business. It's been my very first exposure to any sort of digital marketing. Keep in mind, I started at the age of 18. I had no idea what was going on. I worked with Russians in the beginning because that's my first language. So it felt easy in the beginning, but it just didn't feel right after a year. And that's when I made my first shift in business. First of all, I did switch the companies and I started working with Americans. I did my research on Facebook. I found a couple of guys. We're still friends to this day. We no longer work together, but we're still cool. And then I started feeling the shift. I was like, wow, this is very different than working with Russians. And as a Russian, I was thinking like, oh, I probably should relate more to my own nationality, but it's not always the case. You don't always feel welcomed or appreciated or even understood when you hang out with the people who you feel should be closest to you mentally. This was not the case, and that's okay. If you've ever felt this way, I totally get it. But sometimes, again, you feel like this is no longer it. And I've had multiple feelings like this during the 10 years of my career, both in network marketing, when I was doing coaching, and even when I was running my freelance/agency business that I just recently shut down. And it literally took just a couple of conversations that actually made me realize, wow, this is no longer it. This doesn't feel good anymore. And some people even told me, how dare you run this? You're meant for so much more. So sometimes just hearing that one sentence makes a huge difference. And then you also want to listen to your body. Do you feel the burnout? Do you feel frustrated? Do you feel like you're bored? And sometimes you are going to feel bored even when you have a successful business. I've actually heard this phrase multiple times before, that it's a good thing to have a boring business. But at the same time, you want to think about, is this something that you want? Like, sure, when you have a business that is boring, that's making you millions, I mean, everybody would take that, right? But at the same time, you also want to find ways, how are you going to have fun? Whether it's going to be through the business, whether it's going to be outside of the business. My personal belief that, yes, I will accept certain parts of my business to be boring, but I also want to have fun. I want to have fun working with clients. I want to have fun traveling on business retreats. I want to have fun hosting the retreats. So think about, how do you actually feel? And your body is always going to be the determining factor in a lot of ways when it's time to shut down the business or make a pivot. And it doesn't take a lot to realize, I'm done doing business this way. And again, it could not just be about the business itself. Sometimes it might be about how you run it, or maybe who you're learning from. And I personally have learned from bro marketers. You know who those people are. Great businessmen, great salespeople. I'm not going to knock that, but not every single person is going to relate. Hence why there is such a term, bro marketer. I've worked with them, I've had some great results, but it doesn't always feel good. For example, I don't like cold messaging. I don't like cold calling. I've done both. My body never enjoyed those things. And I will say this, sometimes you do have to do the things that feel out of your comfort zone. Obviously, like we've heard this phrase before many, many times. But at the same time, do you want to hear people tell you to F off when you cold call them? that was not a good experience. It happened to me when I was 18 years old. And in my first network marketing company, I realized, oh, I have to generate leads, but I don't have the leads. How do I do this? And then somebody told me, oh, look, you can buy this database of people and call them, and you're going to make 50K a month. And all these crazy claims that you generally hear in network marketing and any other industry for that regard. And the very first call that I've made, the person didn't pick up, and I was like, oh, thank God. The second call I made, it was something around those same lines. And then one of the first couple of calls, the person asked me, who the hell are you? Why in the world are you calling me? I don't want to buy anything. And they just pretty much told me to piss off. Not a good experience. Does cold calling work? Yes, but it also takes a specific personality. Definitely not an 18-year-old to be doing that. I don't feel like that was a good first business experience. But could I do this today? Probably. Do I want to do this? No, because there are a million different ways to build a business. And I feel like we are so blessed to, first of all, have the internet, have our computers, and have all these technology that people 40, 50 years ago did not have, and they actually had to do the door-to-door sales or the cold calling. I'm never going to knock that strategy, but at the same time, you have to realize what works for you and your personality. And I feel like a lot of the times people forget about that specific part because there is a million different ways to do one thing and to achieve one goal. Now, let's pull back the curtain a little bit on what it looks like and feels like when you shut down the business, when you no longer want to do the thing that you've done for maybe a very long time. There have been a couple of things in my career, like I've mentioned network marketing, there has been coaching, there have been multiple different experiences, and recently my social media management business that just didn't feel right doing anymore. Was it easy to sign clients? Yes and no, because I'm not going to say that it's saturated or oversaturated because there are multiple new businesses starting every single year and every single day even. And yes, they do need social media marketers. But for me personally, I was just tired doing things for other people. And it's going to sound a little selfish, not being given the credit for that. So that has been one of my feelings, because back when I was coaching, I didn't do things for people. I did it with them, or they did it with my support. And that felt very different. For my specific personality, I would say it works way better. And I'll tell you why I actually shifted from coaching to agency and freelance business in the first place, why I completely stopped working with coaching clients back in the day. It's simply been because I wanted to offer something tangible. And I didn't realize that the power is actually in the intangible. It's not just about, oh, let me create 30 social media graphics. Let me create a bunch of videos that you can use for your social media. And this has been a big realization for me when I have been working with clients, specifically in the social media management capacity. A lot of the clients didn't have good offers. They didn't have the fully functional websites. So sometimes I had to even do that because I've done website development since 2016, kind of on the freelance side. It started in a really funny, natural way because I've always built everything for myself. Again, I started in business at the age of 18, so I had to figure things out on my own. I didn't have a huge budget in the beginning, or should I say no budget whatsoever. So of course I had to learn my way and DIY everything until I could hire the help. And even still to this day, I do outsource a lot of the things like website design or graphic design. There are certain things that I do enjoy doing, like my social media posts, my video editing. I do enjoy that kind of stuff. But anyway, to go back to the social media management aspect of me essentially trying to fix everybody's business for the social media posts to actually start working, because you can't just put a band-aid on a broken leg. Just like you can't put a social media post and make it go viral and then fix your entire business. It just doesn't happen this way. We've seen all sorts of things in the digital marketing, especially social media world, where businesses go viral and a lot of the personal brands in particular go viral, and then they struggle to get that high again. They struggle to actually convert those people who they now have as their followers. And then it's like I want to start all over again. I want to start a whole new account. And I've seen multiple businesses actually do that. They start a completely new Instagram account because they said virality actually ruined my business. So this is naturally what's been happening with almost every single social media management client that I've had, even website design clients that I've had over the years, is we would do a lot of the strategy. I would come in, I would coach, consult, strategize, kind of all in one to make sure that the website works. Because think about it, when you build a website, there's still copywriting that you have to write, there's still the lead magnets that you have to direct people to, there's still integrations and different kinds of things that you have to do. Because when you think of a website, it's like your home where people can come and get to know you and figure out what your offers are, how to work with you, who has worked with you that has gotten results, and all things of that nature. So sometimes clients came and they said, oh, I want this website. And I'm like, okay, so where are we directing people to? And a lot of the times it would be the confusion. And I'm like, wait, you don't need a website, you need an offer strategy in place first. We need to figure out what the heck you're selling first before we focus on building a website. So that has been my huge realization and the huge pivot that made me go back into the consulting and coaching world, because that's what I've naturally done for years, especially since I've gotten certified as a business coach in 2016 at the very young age of 21, when I was having amazing results in my business. It was the very first success I've had since joining network marketing, since joining affiliate marketing, since learning how to market my business online, how to build my brand, and all the things that you see me now do on social media. Now, here's the good part about pivots, about changing the direction of your business, about burning down whatever doesn't serve you anymore, is sometimes, and it depends what kind of business that you run, it depends what kind of pivot you're going to make. For me personally, it didn't feel like a huge shift. I mean, it was like a massive shift mentally. It still is where I'm at the moment, but it's not like I changed from marketing to selling weight loss shakes, right? That's what happened before, when I was in network marketing and selling weight loss shakes and brain supplements and things like that. But right now, me shifting from social media management to coaching, I'm still doing marketing, I'm still doing social media, I'm still doing all the things that I love, but it's with a slightly different twist. And it's not me doing things for people, it's me doing things with people and giving you the direction, giving you the strategy, giving you the different ways how you can tweak your business, what you can do differently, what you can do that's going to work better. So it's me gathering 10 years of experience in multiple different businesses, working with different clients across, I don't even know how many clients I've worked with over the years. It's been very different demographics, should I say. So it's me bringing all of that, essentially my entire brain, and then my eyes being on your business. And I feel like, again, as a coach, as a consultant, a lot of the times I would tell people not necessarily what to do, because we don't like being told what to do, right? But sometimes we do, but it has to be done in a certain way. But it's been me telling them, okay, so you've done this has worked great, and this hasn't worked great. So what can we do now to make sure this thing number 2 that didn't work, how can we make it work? What can we do better? So that's been my brain and how I've always been strategizing with my clients. But again, do you need to burn your business down? I'm not going to say yes or no, definitely, because it is your business at the end of the day, but it's just about figuring out what feels good. What do you need to do that's going to make you actually excited? And that's been a very different feeling for me. It's not like I didn't enjoy working with my social media management clients. Of course I did. It's not like I didn't enjoy working with website development clients. I did. I actually do like making websites still, because it's very therapeutic. I find it very, very therapeutic. I would literally play a Vampire Diaries episode and I would do all the things on the website. And it's been cool. Is it something that I'm going to do for the next 10 years? Probably not. Actually, definitely not. A couple websites here and there, maybe. Probably for myself though, for my own programs and stuff like that. But other than that, it's been me making that shift to something that makes me more excited. And the moment I made that decision, which was about 2 months ago, depending on when you listen to this episode. It's been around May 2025. So it's very raw and real, and I'm sharing a lot of the things in real time. And it's really felt good. The moment I had conversations with my coach, the moment I had conversations with a couple of my friends who understand the direction that I've been going into or moving into, it's made me really, really, really excited. And that's how I would say you should feel, but you shouldn't feel this high in the beginning and then not feel it. You still have to feel, it's a bad way to say that, I actually have to feel. You get to feel excited about your business all the time. And sometimes, of course, there are going to be things like, oh, I'm not sure if this is working. I'm not sure if this is what I have to be doing. There's always going to be doubts. There's always going to be some sort of negative feelings. But at the same time, you are going to get to be excited about what you're building for yourself and for your clients. And here's one thing that I also want to say about service provider versus coach, or the face of the brand, is you have to decide what's going to be right for you. So I'm not here to tell you, oh, you've got to be a coach, because in my opinion, not everybody is made to be a coach or a strategist. And some people like to stay behind the scenes. And I have been behind the scenes for so long that I just really got tired of it. And sometimes it's that feeling of, I'm freaking tired of it and I don't want to do this anymore, is all it takes for you to make that pivot and to make the decision into a whole new direction. So being a social media agency is great. Being a coach is great. Being in network marketing is great. You just have to choose what is best for you, your personality, what's more in alignment with your core values. And also, do you like to be the face of the brand, or do you like to be behind the scenes? Because I've started a social media agency and the freelance business after doing coaching for a very long time, for several years, just because I wanted to give more tangible things. And then throughout those few years, it made me realize it's the intangible that is actually more powerful than the tangible, if that makes sense. And one thing that I'm going to leave you with in this very first episode is you get to decide and choose what's your superpower and where you are putting your power in your business. Is your superpower being the face of the brand? Is your superpower being behind the scenes, like I've mentioned before? Is your superpower in promoting other people's products? Because there are successful people in every single niche. There are successful people selling ClickBank products. There are successful people selling network marketing products. There are successful people selling e-commerce products and being behind the scenes. There is a million different businesses these days. With all the technology and AI developments that we have, it's not hard to decide what you want to do. Actually, I'm going to take that back. It is hard to decide what you want to do because there are so many options. Back in the day when I was just starting out in network marketing, it was honestly the only thing. It was just that and eBay. But again, going back to your power, you get to decide where your power is. So now, after listening to this episode, it's your time to decide whether it's time to burn the business down or to burn some bridges down in your business. Maybe it is letting go some clients, maybe it is introducing new offers, maybe it's scratching some of the offers. Again, the decision and the change and the burn of everything does not have to be radical. Actually, burn is radical, but change doesn't have to be. So you really get to sit down and feel, what is it that you truly want to do? What is something that really makes you excited? Maybe it is something that you have been wanting to start for so long that you just never had the guts to do. I'll give you an example. This podcast that is finally being recorded, and by the time you're listening to this, obviously it's already out into the world. I've been wanting to start a podcast since 2016. I don't know why. I don't know the reason behind it, why I wanted to do it back then when I was first starting out in the business, but I've always liked the idea of having a podcast, of being able to share your message with the world. And I've also loved the idea of having long form content, which is why I've had a YouTube channel for so long. And I've always personally thrived in the long form content. I feel like we get to share a lot more than in the short little YouTube shorts or Instagram reels or this like quick and snappy content that is so popular these days. So what is your desire to start this year. Because let me tell you, life is short. And it took me 9 years to start this podcast. I can only say that I wish I would have started this earlier, but it's better later than never. So if you have felt the nudge to burn something down or to go into a whole new direction, if you've had something in the back of your mind for a very long time, it is time. If you've been thinking about something for over a month and you haven't started it, I believe it's time, because if it's always in the back of your mind for a very long time, you need to do it. And I'll give you a very easy analogy for this. Every single time I want to buy something, let's say shoes, if I think about the shoes for weeks, I'm like, I'll get them someday, maybe one day. And then if I keep thinking about it and thinking about it, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go get them. Because if I'm thinking about something for a month, clearly it's something that I truly want and maybe even potentially need. So don't delay the next project or the next power move that you're going to do, because it's better to do it sooner rather than later. And if you fail at something, it's not necessarily going to be a failure, it's simply going to be a short setback and a lesson that you're going to get. But it's better to fail and start something and improve along the way than overthink and never start anything. So I'm gonna leave you with that, and I cannot wait to see your next power move.